Good evening. My name's Arnie Eby. I'm the Executive Director for the Maryland Resource Parent Association, and this is our first Tuesday program for February 2021. This evening we have an interesting lineup of multiple people to share. We have Dr. Rob Huddler, the president of Mrpa, and then a little later in our program we have Kristy O'Neill and Katie Fitzsimmons, who are the presidents of their local associations in Frederick County and Arundel County. So we're going to be talking about quite a few things. But like I said, my name's Arnie. I'm the executive director. For those of you who don't know me, my wife and I are foster parents. We have been so for 20 years. We currently have 4 adopted children and 3 foster children. So I understand when you all talk about COVID and the interesting challenges that you may be facing, either with not many places to go or being quarantined or virtual school. So it's a very incredible time. We're stretched, it's heavy, but the reason we do these kind of things is because we will get through it together and we'll be better because of our collaborations and how we work together. There are 35 people currently on the call tonight. I thank you very much. So if you're not speaking, just stay muted. There will be a time for question and answers. And so we'll work through that. We are recording this meeting, at least I believe we are, and then that way we'll be able to send it out and save it. Although we will send the slides to everyone who wants them. Just send me an email or we can send them to all the participants if you so desire. Please, if you want training hours or you want your local jurisdiction to know that you attended, please put your name and your jurisdiction in the chat. That way we'll be able to know and to track your attendance tonight. So welcome. Good evening, Rob. Would you like to say a thing or two about yourself? And then we'll move into the program.
Yes, I wanted to thank everybody for attending the meeting tonight. I'm excited about the speakers and who we have here tonight. I am the president of Mrpa. I live in Carroll County. I'm also the treasurer of the Carroll County Foster Adoptive Parent Association. I was a foster parent for 12 years and have 2 adopted children. And it was a fantastic experience and continues to be to this day. So we want to thank everybody for attending this meeting, and we look forward to answering some questions at the end when we're finished. I guess I wanted to, Arnie, can you go to slide 2? I don't have control. Arnie? So when we talk about Mrpa, the Maryland Resource Parent Association, we're talking a little bit about our mission statement is to provide support and services to all resource families in the state of Maryland. Some things that we'll discuss tonight is, what does this look like day to day? Some thoughts that I might have is that the Maryland Resource Parent Association works very hard. The board of directors, our executive director, Arnie Eby, work hard to collaborate with foster parents throughout the state. We work with the local jurisdictions to help them understand and to work more collaboratively with our foster parents, our resource parents, as we now call us. So, is our mission statement. Our mission statement is to do that and to work with each and everybody on this call, each and every family within the state of Maryland each and every local DHS office to develop the best that we can do for all of our resource parents, our children in care, to have a cohesive communication, have a good network support. We also work to advocate for legislative changes and are working on several of those things as we speak. So again, I think that if you're not a member of MRPA, it's free to join. You can go to our website, mrpa.org/1, and become a member and keep up to date with everything that's going on in the state of Maryland. So I'm not, people that have been on these calls and have been involved in MRPA for many years are big supporters of MRPA and provide fantastic collaborative efforts to do the best job that we can for resource families in the state of Maryland. So with that, I will send it back to Arnie to continue our slide presentation. Thank you.
Arnie, you're on mute.
There, we got it. I took the screen, my icon out of the center so I could see the slides a little better. I'm sorry about that. When the Maryland Resource Parent Association was started about 17 years ago, it was called the Maryland Foster Parent Association, but our charter has not really changed. Our goals are to network and support all resource families and collaborate with community partners who share similar values and goals, to advocate for legislative changes, to promote communication, to promote recognition of communications of contributions made by Maryland's resource parents, and to encourage and to assist in the recruitment and retention of resource families. All of these things ebb and flow across the course of time. And one year, maybe we're doing one thing a little more. Right now in the pandemic, we're promoting communication a lot more and recognizing contributions that foster, resource, and adoptive parents make. Recently, in our work with DHS, we put together a survey to better understand how MRPA and DHS are meeting these goals, and the results can be found on our website homepage. However, we're going to review some of them tonight. In the next slides, we'll show some of the graphics. Today, there are approximately just under 1,500 resource parents, public resource parents in 14 jurisdictions in Maryland. For this survey, 460 people responded, so we were very happy. Someone from every jurisdiction responded, and that's an aggregate of about 1/3 of all resource parents responded. So we feel very good about that. We have solid information to work with. Here are some of the graphics that we put together from the information about how many people are aware of MRPA, how many of the foster parents are involved or an active member of MRPA. And then also we're very interested in how many resource families are actively engaged or involved at the local level. And we had questions surrounding, are the needs of resource parents being met by the associations and MRPA? And if they're not, what we can do to help meet those needs. These are some of the top benefits that were listed for being involved with MRPA or a local resource parent association. Information, training, connection, support groups, events, meetings, and other methods of communication, either through Facebook, newsletters, or supports through mentoring. So, looking at benefits, we see that information, support, event, and communication stand out as to the things that are at the top of the list for supporting. As a new resource parent, I did not know certain events and services even existed, was one comment. So that's why it's so important to get the information and the communication out. And that's why I'm thrilled that so many of you are on the call, and hopefully will continue to advocate for this communication by sending this information to all the resource parents you know. Some of the top challenges that resource parents encounter for being involved either at MRPA or at a local level have to do with, I can't imagine this, being too busy. We're all have lots of things, and they crowd in and push out. And so that's another reason for saying a big thank you to all of you who are on the call tonight. Busyness is something that every resource parent understands. Work schedules, job schedules make it difficult. Childcare makes it difficult. Some people aren't connected to our methods of communication and don't get the information. And then there are other concerns around confidentiality. The meetings are too far away, which now Zoom meetings help take away that travel, and just not having transportation to the event. Additional resources and supports that are needed for foster parents that may not be available. Childcare, other support groups, advocacy with SSA and DSS, legislative advocacy, training, which is one of the reasons we have this event tonight, and we will continue running this on first Tuesdays for the next while. Social event, transportation, and monthly meetings. And so we now have this scheduled as a monthly first Tuesday, and we have a board meeting once a month. One of the other questions we asked was about the relationship between families of origin, resource parents, and DSS. And you'll see there on this slide the percentages of people of resource parents and how they feel that those relationships are important, but some of the barriers that stand in the way of those meaningful relationships actually happening. And that's one of the areas that we want to work at and change across the next period of time. So quickly, that's kind of a basic run through the survey results. You can download a copy of all the survey results on our webpage, mrpa.org, and you can hit the tab. There's the survey results. Click here to download your copy. It's there on the home page. Thinking about where or how to move through the rest of this, I was just wondering, are there any questions about the survey or any comments that anybody would like to make at this point? Okay, we'll continue to move on. Based on the survey and the outcome, we work together with DHS, SSA, and we create a plan of work every year for the activities that we are going to work with and goals that we hope to accomplish. But to be more successful and to accomplish those goals, we need more resource parent voices. Our goals for our plan of work for fiscal year 2021 are to build communications, provide timely, valuable information, promote the growth of the network and participation, encourage and facilitate forums, strengthen teaming efforts between birth families, resource parents, and DSS staff, and provide support and enable personal growth among resource parents through dialogue with our local DSSs and our local DSS and families of origin. So a lot of the goals and the work that we have are around building communications, collaboration, and teaming efforts that work to promote teamwork amongst all the parties involved. As we've looked at those goals and we looked at all the results and all the comments that came out of the survey, three things stood out pretty loud and clear. The first is increased communication. We have worked very hard in the last couple months to enhance our website, to make it more collaborative, to celebrate and recognize the hard work of resource parents. We're working to build blogs to have other people contribute to the, sorry, my phone started to ring there and kind of knocked me off track. Sorry about that. But to blogs to help with the dissemination of information. We use Facebook, and in some of our jurisdictions, like Arundel County, you'll hear from them in a few minutes. They do a lot of work and communication through their newsletter. Flexibility and training, having training at flexible times and in different forums was something else that stood out loud and clear. And that's one of the reasons we're working hard to develop this first Tuesday concept and to listen and hear from you what kind of training and services you need, what kind of dialogue that you want to have so that you can participate in it. And we're also working to record our sessions to make sure that the slides are available so that if you can't listen to it tonight or there's something you want to go back to, we're saving these trainings and building a training library on our website where you'll be able to click on First Tuesday resources, view the materials, and listen to the trainings at any time that's convenient to you, which is something I think and know as a resource parent could be very helpful. So, and then the third one was around building advocacy, and how to build teamwork and advocacy is one of the subjects that is very, very important, and the subject that our special guest tonight will discuss. And so I'm going to turn it over to Katie Fitzsimmons from Arundel County and Kristy O'Neill from Frederick County. Hopefully they will introduce themselves. I'm not going to make an attempt to do that. And we'll hear from them, and then we will roll through their discussion around how they work at their local level to build connections and advocacy. So, Katie, it's all yours.
Thanks, Arnie. And just thanks for having me tonight. And maybe, Arnie, if you just want to flip to the next slide. I wanted to kind of start off certainly by introducing myself. My name is Katie Fitzsimmons. I'm the president of the Arundel County Foster Parent Association. We support about 75 licensed foster families, and we've got about 120 kids in care at any one time. I've been a foster parent for nearly only 3 years. Probably many of you on this call have a much more impressive tenure than I do. But I think one of the reasons I got involved initially with our association is that I didn't have any resources. When I got started, I didn't know any other foster families. I didn't know anybody who had walked on this journey. And so that's what motivated me to get started. So maybe Kristy, I'll let you do a quick intro before we continue.
Sure. So my name is Kristy. I'm the president of the Frederick County Foster and Adoptive Parent Association. Our association works a little differently than some in that we welcome adoptive parents to remain involved even after their licensing has ended if they've decided to close their home. So we have about 40 families that are licensed, but we have probably about 90 on our roster that are involved, not all of them active, obviously. And I myself have been a foster parent for 6 years, and I've been president for I think 5 of them for quite a while. Our story is a little different. Frederick County has had a foster parent association for quite some time, and we have, and I just kind of inherited a lot of great work that had been done by those who came before me, and then had, kind of stepped away as their responsibilities and life changed. So we've just been able to kind of continue and grow the work that they've done.
Awesome. Well, to get started, and maybe before we go here, Arnie, I was asked tonight to talk a little bit about advocacy and kind of what that looked like or what that meant in our county. And one of the things that got me thinking was that this graphic here, if you think of the family in the center as your family, and you get placed with a foster son, and then that foster son happens to have siblings who are also in care, and all of a sudden you're connected to that family. And then you go to a support group and you've met 3 other families who also have active placements, who now you understand to be walking the same journey as you, and also hear a story of a family who's just done a reunification and they're feeling the pain and heartbreak, but also all of the hard work they've done to make that reunification successful. You see that happening. It started to make me think that many of you do advocacy day to day right now. You do the work to support your fellow foster resource parents who maybe you shared a pride class with, you met during training, or I know in my case, I closely attached myself to people who were doing it before me, Kristy included, just to see how they did it. And the reason I tried to roll this back very simply is that advocacy for your local foster parent association can start as simply as connecting with other foster parents and foster families. There's a ton of resources that the MRPA offers to the local associations to do a lot of the more bureaucratic administrative work. Our roles, at least how I feel as the president, is really to build up that group mentality, that each of us is a bit stronger when we're bound together by something that we really believe in and that we know we can make a change and make a difference in. And so by just demonstrating so simply, just by offering support to some of your other foster parents or working closely with them, you already are doing some of this advocacy. And this can look very different, right? So if you flip to the next slide, Arnie, our goals of the Arundel County Foster Parent Association are really simple, right? It's to provide support and advocacy to our families, but then also to work closely with the Department of Social Services. And I think many times foster families feel either disconnected or they feel as though they don't get the support, education, communication or information that they need from their local DSS groups. And by having the advocacy of the Foster Parent Association behind them, all of a sudden either collecting resources or banding together to come to DSS and say, we've all shared this problem, it seems to, at least in Arundel County, we're able to get a little bit more attention quickly. So certainly from, if there's anybody on the line now who is interested in learning more or would like to talk about what we do, I'd be happy to answer that. But really from my perspective, it's just a matter of kind of helping your fellow family out there, and whether it's just one other family or all of the families inside of your jurisdiction, there's definitely a way you can start to create some advocacy on your side. I know Kristy has, again, she does things, I envy her association. She can do amazing stuff. So I'll let her share with you a little bit of some of the things that she's working on.
Yeah, so we, like I said, we have, we kind of built our association and have continued to grow it and build the connections based on work that has already been done before. One of the advantages of living in a county that's smaller is that it's possible for foster parents to get to know each other very well. And so a good chunk of what we do is spend time building that connection. So that looks like a private Facebook group where it's very active and people share resources and encouragement and inspiration and articles, as well as ask questions, and we try and keep that going. It took a little while to get it really moving, but with some focused effort, that really has become a resource for a lot of people. We also just do a lot of stuff that gives our kids chances to be together. That's obviously become more difficult in the pandemic, right? Because we can't gather, but we do still sometimes gather as small groups. We have done like online mom's night in kind of thing that are just Zoom calls with everyone. The department in Frederick County sponsors a support group for foster families. We run another one for adoptive families. I'm trying to put some training and other things together. So we've really tried to focus on building the connection, because I think the support can happen organically from that. The other thing that we've done, we do liaise well with the department. We're very lucky in Frederick County. We've got a great group of people who are very supportive of foster parents and the work that they do. And I meet regularly with staff there to talk about joint projects or just, the needs that we're seeing in our county, and get to advocate on that level. I think what Katie said is true, that you can have a lot of, there's a little bit of something that happens when there's a lot of people experiencing the same thing, and you can, kind of share that it's a common thread for a lot of people. So we try and do that as well. And then just recognizing too, that the support that the, obviously you guys know foster parenting is hard work, right? And there's a lot of help that's needed, but not everybody can provide the same things. There's stuff that we can provide as an association in terms of camaraderie and people who get it that just can't exist from the department. They don't get it the same way. And so just really trying to focus on like what our role is and as an association, what we can provide to other foster parents, and then, working with the department for what they can provide and figuring out how to do that well together. So. And that's it. I mean, I can take questions. I don't know if you had something else, Katie, or wanted more.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think that like Kristy said, right, we both kind of jumped in to the role in our local association without having loads of foster parenting experience. And I think there's probably some good and bad stuff with that, right? Like we didn't know what we were doing, but also it gave us an opportunity to kind of have some fresh perspective. So I guess the point is that really, as long as, foster parenting takes a special kind of person, right? We're doing this because we want to change the world in some way. How that actually manifests itself, hopefully, is a positive outcome. But I think that the opportunity to help your fellow foster parents, is so gratifying and really at the end of the day, the work that we do, like Kristy said, man, this job is tough. And there really isn't anybody else on the planet that understands it than a fellow foster parent. So being able to share that common theme and then take that voice with intention and with kindness to DSS and to the MRPA and to every other outlet you can, to me has been one of the things I've enjoyed most about being a foster parent.
Well, we'll circle back in a minute or two and we'll open the floor for questions. But I just wanted to say here at the end of the slides, and then I'm going to quit sharing my screen. This is the information as to how to reach out to MRPA through our website, our Facebook. You can leave us emails. I try to respond back to whoever sends in information or questions, and we try to find that or help them find somebody who can. But believe me, we can't answer every question. And with the advent of the PEBT card, we've gotten a deluge of questions that I've not been able to answer. We point them to the DHS website or to another resource or two. And I've tested some of those sites, and we have seen people get responses for doing that and get answers. So we try to make sure that if we're going to send out a resource, that it is something that works. I just wanted to highlight a couple things that are coming up in the next couple months. March is Social Work Appreciation Month. We are planning to do a Zoom call or so where we are going to record and then compile some thank yous that we will run on our website and Facebook page to a special thank you to a social worker that made a difference either to you or the children that you serve. So please be looking for that and participate in that. I think we're going to have a lot of fun putting together those thank yous for Social Worker Appreciation Month. Continue to watch and follow, and we will have a poll here and some things that about the kind of trainings that you want to see and to hear around FASD, around how to have your own parent support group, around trauma and ACEs, race equity, LGBTQ issues. So all those things, and we're asking that you have a say in what trainings that we provide for you across the first Tuesdays of the next couple months. So we will be sending out or having those polls run very soon. And then for Foster Parent Appreciation Month, we plan to do something similar to Social Worker Appreciation Month, but this will be around the theme of your family finds you. While Katie talked about it and her graphic showed it, the journey through foster care leads us to a different group of family, but a different set of people. And I think we're going to title this, Your People Find You. Because as we serve the kids that come into our care, there are special people who help make that journey better and give us the strength and the courage to work through difficult and trying times. So our month of May, Foster Parent Appreciation theme will be built around Your People Find You, thanking other resource parents and supporters who help us through this incredible journey and appreciating them in a very special month. So that's one of the things that another one of the things that we're going to do. And there's more things to come, but thank you for watching this presentation, for viewing these slides. And now I'm going to jump out of sharing so it'll be a little easier to facilitate some discussion. So I see we have quite a few messages in the chat, but I haven't been monitoring them. So hopefully they're just your names and jurisdictions. And
There is one question, Arnie, from Ann.
okay.
Are adoptive parents welcome as MRPA members, is Ann Brown's question.
And I would say yes. And Frederick County does a great job, and Kristy can maybe speak to that as well.
Yeah, so we just kind of we tell people that they're automatically a part of the association, and they actually have to ask to leave. We don't kick them out unless they ask. And that certainly has worked. We run an adoption support group, like I think I mentioned earlier, that has been helpful for kind of separating. Kids' needs don't necessarily end when adoption is finalized, right? Everyone who's adopted knows that. So we want to continue supporting people and just kind of continue building that community. What we found is that sometimes adoptive parents have a little bit more stability to their lives than foster parents do, and can be involved in the association or in planning things or in roles that sometimes those of us who are active foster parents and liable to get that call at any time and have our lives kind of flipped upside down, we can always respond as quickly. So we've definitely found that has, and of course they have a wealth of experience to offer, right? People have been doing this for a while when it comes to needs with kids. So we think that we are enhanced for sure by allowing adoptive parents to remain a part of the association. So we're big fans.
Yeah, Arnie.
Yes, Sam.
Hi. I think it was Katie who mentioned that foster parenting is a very difficult job. Either Katie or Kristy, you have any advice on self-care, getting through these troubled times?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Sam, that's an excellent point. And I think it's something that all of our foster parents, including myself, struggle with. I know that one of the benefits of having the Foster Parent Association is, in addition to whatever DSS is trying to provide, we have some private funding that separately we can look for other therapies or ways to promote self-care for our families. So, for example, I'm working with a recreation therapist right now to develop a series, like a 4-part Zoom series where our families can participate in some kind of play-based activity. And, it might not work for all ages, but the hope would be to allow a family to interact together doing something fun and then take away, talk about it. So, I think one of the things the association does is try to promote things like self-care. Like Kristy's group, we also have a private Facebook group where we try to send out a lot of reminders, about self-care, or maybe it's a funny, lighthearted meme on a Friday just to give you a laugh, that type of thing. But, we really are trying to push that. And I think on the flip side, when I hear of stuff kind of bubbling up inside of a case, I'm on the phone with DSS saying, listen, there's a lot going on. What are you guys doing to offer this family support, and remind them of respite care, all of the other ways to kind of take a break if they need to. So, I think this is a way that the association can really advocate for a family either who is struggling, or to remind all the families that self-care is, super important. And even though we don't prioritize it, we always send out reminders that we should.
Yeah. One of the things that we do too is we try and focus on practical supports. Mm-hmm. So just, really basic, like you just have a new kid move in, and we have, the list is kind of comprised of a list of foster parents and former foster parents and community members of people that will bring dinner for the first 2 weeks. So you don't even have to think about it. New kid moves in and dinner's covered for 2 weeks. And that has been a huge blessing. I'd been on the both ends of that, the giving and receiving end, most recently the receiving end, which was huge to not have to think about. So we do a lot of trying to, take the practical needs off the plate. We have a lot of people and we connect a lot in terms of just the physical needs, like, I need a bed, I need clothes for a kid of this age or whatever, just to kind of make those things a little bit simpler. And we share a lot of resources in that way too. And I think that can help as well in terms of self-care, just to remind everybody this is hard, you're doing a good job. Where can we help take things off your plate? We're actually getting ready to launch a series of bi-monthly, 2 a month, I guess it's bi-monthly, trainings on, some alternative kind of regulation things like mindfulness. And we're talking to like a chiropractor. We're having somebody come and talk about yoga, some things like that foster parents can participate in, not only to help with the kids in their care, but also just to help them. So we're trying to take that approach too.
Back to the question about our adoptive parents welcome as MRPA members. Yes, and because membership's free, we do not restrict adoptive parents. We do try to make sure there's information out there. And if there are a group of adoptive parents who would like to contribute, we certainly can. When I say contribute, I mean by providing information, articles, or things that would help other adoptive parents. We will be glad to post that or create an adoption corner. We're working on a kinship corner right now where it will be advice and some things strictly focused on kinship care, because that's also a unique set of needs that are out there, and we need to find ways to help and support our kinship providers as well. So we're working on that. So that circles back to a question about what does the term resource parent mean? And resource parent is a term that's used frequently by the federal government in their referencing of the things that we do. However, it is inclusive of foster, adoptive, and kinship parents. So that's what a resource parent definition is. And so I hope that answers that question. So does anybody else have a question? We'd love to take some more questions and tap the brains of these excellent resources that are available for us this evening. Well, it looks like everybody must be tired, or you guys did such a great job answering the questions. There's not a lot to ask, but I kind of doubt that. But our goal, Sam, yeah, and we'll go circle to you, Sam, please.
Yeah, I just want to know, Arnie, how often will you be able to survey the parents? Once a year, twice a year? How does that work?
Well, we'll probably have surveys at least once a year. The initial survey that we're talking about, the results tonight, happened last spring. Subsequently, there was another survey in August that was sent out, which looked specifically at daycare issues, because childcare and daycare was high on the list of concerns in the results that we got back in the May survey, in the initial survey. Those results were shared with DHS SSA, and subsequent, there has a new rate change just went into place. That is something that MSDE sets, but SSA has to adopt it then to in the way that it impacts foster and resource parents. So we're very happy that the newest rate increase went into effect, I believe, January 23rd. So that should be working through. I did have a call from a resource parent in Cecil County the other day who just one day this week who had gotten the information on the new rate and was so thankful that she was able to get the information from our site because it really helped solve a problem that she was having in serving two children who were not school age, two toddlers. And so, that's the kind of thing. That's the communication, getting it out there as soon as we hear about it, getting these things up and out there to help people and to create a dialogue. We will probably circle back. Sometimes the science behind how often to do a survey says that after a while, people get tired of surveys. However, resource parents encounter different issues in different seasons. And so COVID has certainly stretched and changed the landscape that around the needs and services that resource parents need. And so I know that Mrpa, which is the group home provider, they're working on a new survey. I've been collaborating some with them to see what collective resource parents around the state through therapeutic providers and public providers are saying has changed in this pandemic and what the new needs are. So that survey will come out in probably the next 2 weeks. Last time we had 200 and some parents who responded to that survey. And so I was very happy that we are getting those kind of results. So I would say we'll have a survey or so a year working towards, but probably more geared to specific issues.
I have a question for Katie and or Kristy. Are there times in your organizations where you've had ebbs and flows of participation and, when those challenges come up, what things have you done to spark the reinterest that families may or may not have in your local organization?
I think that we'll always have a bit of an ebb and flow. One of the big trends I think I see right now is some of just the way that foster parenting has changed over the last decade has created, our younger, newer foster parents are sometimes millennials. They're used to being communicated in a certain way, whereas some of our more seasoned foster parents have a more traditional style and just how they interact with people. So we try to hit the entire spectrum. We publish a newsletter monthly, which is kind of an old school way to communicate, but then we also are really active on social media. Our vice president, Anita, I think she's on right now. She does an excellent job of just doing tons of promotion on our Facebook page about what's happening, what's going on. All of the events are posted there. And then, during like normal times when we can see each other, we offer support groups at specific locations in our county. For example, traveling from the northern part of the county to the southern part of the county is not super accommodating. So we've split it up. So it's easy to get to. We also have done things similar to what Kristy was saying, where it's just a mom's night. Like we just met up for a coffee talk one morning. So we all just brought some coffee and it kind of connected. I think it's one of our biggest challenges though, Rob, honestly, where we continue to try and figure out how to get engaged with folks that aren't actively participating. And so, my plan is just stay top of mind, stay in front of them, let them know that if there is a problem, at least I know I've armed them with all of the information they could possibly need to get in touch with me. And then at that point, it's kind of up to them. So,
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I hear what Katie's saying too, especially about people who interact and prefer to be communicated with different ways. I mean, we are very active on social media. We occasionally send things out via email, but if we have people who are not really active on Facebook, they are going to just miss a bunch of stuff, which is not ideal, but it's a lot of work to make sure that we hit all the communication avenues. And sometimes we just go with what's easiest, which isn't maybe the best way to do it, but it's just what works for us. It's tricky to really manage that communication. So, I think that can be really difficult. I think too, one thing that we've had to look at, and I think we have to continue, is riding that line between providing confidentiality for our members, especially in certain circumstances, with not letting the need for support become just a session that's about complaining. That's a difficult balance to hit. And I think that there are some people who, feel different levels of comfort with that. And that can be kind of tricky as well. Just trying to make sure that we are looking positively, looking at support, but also allowing people to vent. It's a hard line to kind of meet. So that can, I think, be difficult too.
Yeah. Those are some challenges. And, every local DHS office is, they have staff that turn over and come and go, and you have different people involved. Do you have any thoughts on what you've done to maximize the relationship with your local departments, and how you see that going forward with all of the changes that are going on with being a resource parent and those responsibilities that we all have? So I'm just curious about that.
So I meet quarterly with Becky Rice, who's a trainer and recruiter. I don't know if that's her official title. Becky, you can correct me. For Frederick County, as well as her supervisor, who's the resource home supervisor, soon to be program manager. I don't remember all the titles. Anyway, so we meet on a regular basis, usually quarterly, just to kind of check in on what are we doing, how's everybody doing, what are you hearing, what are you not, and a lot of times that involves me hearing things that I make sure that I send back to the association so they understand, hey, those childcare increases that you guys heard, that's because we, did this survey and then somebody was advocating for those, to just kind of make sure that you share the positive too, because it's so easy to see the negative. And I think that's one thing that has really helped, is to say, hey, you may not see this, but here's what's going on behind the scenes that I'm seeing. People are fighting for what resource parents need and what they're struggling with. So I think that helps too.
Yeah, so similar for me, we've started a steering committee that includes not only our recruiter, Erica, I think, and also Kristy and I are super fortunate because our counterparts at DSS are really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that really contributes to the success of our association. But we meet quarterly also with a variety of stakeholders at DSS. At this point, I've convinced foster care, adoptions, and resource homes to all participate. So we do that. And then we do a lot of ad hoc communication. And like Kristy said, we really try to reinforce the good stuff that DSS is doing because of our concerns or what we've expressed or that type of thing, to really, make sure that feedback loop shows that it means something when you talk to us and you tell us what's going on. And this is how we can create some change. So, that's so super key. I've also managed to wiggle my way into a bunch of management meetings at different departments at DSS. I've collected all of their email addresses, so I blast them my newsletter. I try to do as much as I can to stay in front of them too, because I think a lot of times, even on the worker side, they think they know what the foster parent life looks like, and they really just don't.
Well, it sounds like the one word that I hear is communication, and collaboration. And that's, I just was interested if you were doing anything differently, because we see some struggles with various jurisdictions in how they deal with their local DHS and venting some frustrations, and Sam's shaking his head yes, and so is Arnie. So, everything that we can garner from, these two counties, Frederick and Anne Arundel, is fantastic. So thank you for those answers. Thank you.
I think one of the things that I heard them say, and one of the things that was in the survey, is the fact that being positive and saying thank you when we see efforts made to change things or to enhance the well-being of our children is very important. We saw it in the survey. We've heard it here tonight. And it's one of the reasons that we're rolling out this Say Thanks to Your Social Worker campaign, and then thanking a foster parent who supported you in the upcoming months, because the power of positive engagement and saying thank you is something I don't think we always give enough credence to. So there's another question I was going to answer about aging out. Somebody asked about resources for children who are youth who are aging out of the system. Some people use the word aging out. Some people use the word rising up. They're actually exiting from the top. But interestingly enough, at 18 years old now, because of COVID, funding has changed. You can continue to stay in foster care if you turned 18 until June 30. But then at the federal level, and I was just on a call today, there are a lot of changes in Chafee funds, which will provide housing, and in some cases up to the age of 26 for youth who age or rise up out of the system. So that is things that are just developing. They're part of the some of them were part of appropriation. Some of them were part of the stimulus packages, and they're layered in different ways throughout the budget, and all the things that are happening at the federal level right now. So there's a lot of activity there. There will be increased cash assistance available for those young people, as well as the funds available for college or trade schools. In some cases have gone from, in the case of trade schools, in some areas it's gone from $5,000 a year being available to $12,000. So we're seeing significant increases that are coming out of federal legislation at this point in time. If you're interested, send me an email and I can hook you up to some of that more detailed information, but there are a lot of things happening on that front right now. So MRPA has been around for what, Sam, 17 years? You and I started on a task force together under Governor Ehrlich. So however long it's been since Governor Ehrlich, it's maybe more than 17 years, but I met Sam on the original task force.
You sure it wasn't Governor Agnew?
No, we're not quite that old, Rob.
I'm just kidding.
But yes, it's at least 17 years. But Sam and I were representatives selected to meet at a forum that Governor Ehrlich put together to hear from foster parents around the state. And we have had a friendship that is from those early days. And more than likely, when I get to say thanks to somebody in May, I'll be thanking Sam for being a friend, for always being there to dialogue issues, even though we didn't always agree, but someone whose that dialogue has made me better.
Virtual hug.
Go ahead. Tony Gigliotta has a comment.
Hi, it's actually me. I'm the talker of the group. Hi, Arnold.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. Good to see you. I asked the question about how long the association's been around. We've only been licensed in Washington County for 2 years. And just being honest, if you're looking for a way to engage more foster parents across the state, so something to think about. When we went through the training, the Pride training, they talked about the 10 hours a year in training that you have to do, but this was not mentioned as one of those trainings. When I got your email about this, I bumped it to Tina, our contact, and I said, does this count toward training hours? And she said, absolutely. I'm not saying we're only here for the training hours, but the reality is I work with college students, and they're not going to do what's good for them if there's not an incentive. And I just wonder how much other foster parents know that these trainings are part of the training hours.
Well, I'll answer that question. I think that what we're trying to do on a state level and a jurisdictional level is to raise awareness for MRPA, so that when people go through Pride training, and that they'll be given information on what the local jurisdiction can do for you and what MRPA can do for you as a foster parent. So I think, again, raising that, elevating that awareness on the ground level, and engaging all of the local jurisdictions to be supportive of MRPA and supportive of even the local jurisdictions is what we have to do, and our goals going forward. So, yeah, we probably should have, I didn't know that this was a training session. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And I think that, we're working very hard with SSA and all of the local jurisdictions to just elevate that awareness of MRPA and their local jurisdictions.
And I'll just add to that too, that doing the initial foster training might not be the best time because it's so overwhelming and there's so much information coming at you, right? At that point, you're just focused on getting a placement and trying to do right by the system and the family. But certainly folks who've been in the system for maybe 6 to 12 months might be a good time to reconnect with them whenever they've had more experience and are looking at things from a broader level, a state level, as opposed to just focus on what's happening in their individual house. So that's a thought. But this sounds like a great organization, and I look forward to hearing about more.
Part of the problem too is we're not provided when say 10 families are going through Pride training in Frederick County, and I'll pick on Becky here, but they're not giving us, we don't have a way to contact these new parents. Like, we don't have email addresses and communications to reach out to them if we wanted to. So we try to give them just a little brochure. We'll even attend Pride meetings at the tail end, when they're their last Pride training. We'll try to just jump in for 2 or 3 minutes and talk. But, we're trying to improve that where we, MRPA gets the contact information for new parents so that we can reach out to them and let them know about things. If you don't know what's going on, then how can you decide whether to participate? So those are hopefully some changes that we'll see as a group to maximize that. But that's a very good point that you bring, is people are scared. They won't admit it, but people are nervous to become foster parents. But we all we're doing it for a reason, and even the workers at the local offices that they're doing it for it's all for the kids, and it's for a greater good, and it just it helps to get along and communicate, collaborate, and be the best that we can be.
Well, I'd like to make on that point, I'd like to also note that as I look at the participant list, there are some friends that I know from all around the state, people that I've either talked a few hours with, or come to your jurisdiction and talked or worked with you collaboratively to find ways to enhance the relationship. So I want to say thank you to Marcy and Natera and Becky and any other person from DSS that a local DSS that I'm not seeing right now, but I really appreciate the fact that from multiple jurisdictions around the state, we're from Southern Maryland, from the city, from rural Maryland, you are here tonight representing your DSS. And we want to, if you have a word, any of you would like to say now, as resource parents, we want to hear that as well and continue a dialogue that enhances the well-being of all the children we serve here in Maryland. So thank you for being on. And, I'd like to shift over and give any of you a minute if you would like to share a word.
This is Becky from Frederick County, formerly 14 years in Washington County, 2 years now in Frederick. But I would like to just thank you for giving us the opportunity to join MRPA and to join resource families at the First Tuesdays. I've had the opportunity to attend the previous 3 First Tuesdays, and they have been phenomenal. And I would strongly encourage everybody who is on here to attend, any ones that you're able to, and also help us spread the word. One thing that I've started doing in Frederick to make sure that our prospective resource families are aware of MRPA is that I start talking about MRPA just briefly in our information sessions. So we hold monthly information sessions for people who are interested in becoming foster parents. We give out some information, and I list MRPA, their website, and their Facebook page as a support service. So they go home with something in writing where they've got that. They can look it up. They can like you on Facebook, even if they decide not to become foster parents. We also talk about it during our in-home consultations, which is our next step in the process where, I meet individually with people. I bring it up then. And then we talk about it more in depth in Pride training. Because I think people need to hear, things multiple times, especially with all of the information, that we're giving to people. But I think that the First Tuesdays, I think that the website, what you're doing right now is knocking my socks off, and I'm excited to be able to continue, supporting you, supporting our resource parents, and spreading the word. So thank you for the opportunity to let us join you. There are a lot of things, that staff and resource parents, can't attend together, and I think this is a great way to improve, the partnership that we have.
Thanks, Becky. It was great.
And this is Natera from St. Mary's County. I have had the opportunity to work closely with Arnie. He has come down to our local and spoken with our prospective resource parents. So I think that's an awesome way to get the information out very early in the Pride training. So we really appreciate the collaboration with him. And also, just to echo Becky's sentiment, we're trying to do all the things and, support our resource parents and just get this resource parent locally established. So we're kind of new. We're not maybe as far along as Frederick, but we're striving to support our families here. So thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank you for that. That was great. I know that one of our goals as MRPA in 2020 was to get out to more of the local jurisdictions face-to-face for people with meetings and even come to a local jurisdictional meeting if needed. Of course, COVID had a different answer for that, but it's still a goal of the board of directors. And Arnie is a fantastic executive director. He does a great job of listening. He said that's why God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, but he also is a great communicator and a good executive director for MRPA and what's going forward. I did see something in the chat where somebody seemed to like the shirt that Becky is wearing, Foster Love, and that is an MRPA shirt, Arnie, and I think people are wanting to get one. So,
Thank you, Rob. This is actually a shirt that
borrowed
we
Foster Love from Becky, but we do have shirts available that have our logo on. If you're interested in a shirt and you were on this call tonight, go ahead, send me a email with a shirt size. We have long sleeve and short sleeve. They say Foster Love. They have our email address, and most of them have a large heart on the back with a lot of the words that are synonymous with foster care. And so I'd love to get those out to people. So yes, we'll send you one. If you don't send it in the chat, send an email to the mrpa.org website to the information.
That's awesome, Arnie. Thank you.
Yeah, Arabella Kizart was I think she was the one who.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, yes, Arabella Kizart was the one that commented on loving the shirt. So that's fantastic. So we'll make sure that Arabella gets one.
That's perfect, Arnie. Thanks, Rob.
Yes.
One thing I think we do well in Maryland is we share resources, we share ideas. If we like something, we'll steal it and we'll put our own little, spin on it. So I think it's great. And a lot of the ideas we've gotten from other states or other counties. But yeah, so foster love, guys.
Are there any additional questions or comments that people would like to share?
I just wanted to say from Baltimore City, my name is Marcy Littman, and I appreciate being here tonight. We do a lot of collaboration, as Becky said, with the other locals so that we're able to standardize our practice and learn and grow from each other. Becky has been amazing as far as kind of teaching me the ropes over the last 3 years that I've been in a position to be working with resource families, and I appreciate that. I really love the other side of this conversation, which is hearing from foster parents from all over the state. I have found the foster parents that spoke tonight to be incredibly inspirational. I'd hope to bring that level of commitment and really just I'm really just floored by the kinds of services and the kinds of support that you offer your fellow providers. And even though it's going to look a little bit different in Baltimore City, and we can't always get together for coffee when we're looking at the numbers that we have, I think that a lot of the things that you guys talked about are very adaptable and can be done. And I think that they are going to. I'm stealing every single thing that came up tonight. That's what we do. I don't care. That's how we learn and grow. And so thank you for letting us all participate in this too. And we are newly initiated our foster parent resource association. Baltimore City had an association a long time ago. I want to say like 10 years ago. Sam, you probably know better than I. And it was defunct for many years. And so I met with Arnie and with Sam, and they helped to initiate and to execute our Baltimore City Resource Parent Association, which is up and running now. We're struggling with membership, but we're gonna make that right real soon. And so we have really benefited from all of the experiences that you guys have shared, and thank you.
Thanks, Marcy. Thumbs up from Sam. Mm-hmm.
I miss you, Sam.
Well, I think that tonight shows what getting together. We probably wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for COVID. So there are positive things that come out of unfortunate and negative situations. But I'm deeply honored and moved that we have tonight 40 people on a call who come together from different viewpoints, from different a different wheel, so to speak, in the process, but together we're communicating, we're talking, we're encouraging each other, and we're leaving with answers and some things we can try that tomorrow will make the world a better place for the children that we serve, and the parents that serve them, and the caseworkers that have to shovel tons of paperwork that sometimes seems redundant and unnecessary. But we're all here together tonight, a great group of people. I'm thrilled that MRPA gets to facilitate this. We're going to be back doing it again on March the 2nd. I don't know yet what the topic's going to be, but we want to bring people together to talk, to communicate, and to work together to enhance the well-being of kids in Maryland. And one final thing, if you enjoyed it, send us emails or thank yous, or tell us what you would like to hear or what we could do better. We're going to work at it, or something you'd like us to try. We will try it, because we're going to figure this out, and we're going to make the great state of Maryland even better. And I'm just thrilled and humbled that so many of you all participated tonight, stayed on the whole way, and contributed. And send me your a size and an address, and you'll get a t-shirt. Not you, Becky. I'm not sending you one.
I already have a few.
I know you do. So, is there any other questions? But I thoroughly enjoyed this time, and I thank you, Katie and Kristy, for bailing me out because I didn't know what I'd talk about for an hour plus. Rob, you and I have lots of good conversations, but I think we would have bored these poor people to death. So, like I said, thank you, Katie and Kristy, for joining us. And if there's, does anybody have a final comment? I'm seeing lots of thanks. Thank you very much. Anything else before we go? We'll wrap this up here and let you all get back to your evening. So, and I will send out the slides, and we will edit this recording. And if you want to hear it again, or you want somebody else to hear it, it will be available in our resource library. But we'll put the slides up very soon. And please, please, please keep sharing the information. Share and ask resource parents to participate in each of the thank you sessions that will be coming up. The thank you for social workers, and the thank you for the amazing support they get from their fellow resource parents.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you all, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.